Hey guys! So I just wanted to do a really quick video on what it's like to tattoo over scars, and just like some things you should know beforehand, stuff like that. This is my personal experience. Obviously everyone's scars are going to be different types of scars are probably going to be affected differently. So yeah, I'm going to start by saying the scars I will be referring to were self-harm scars, so if that is triggering in any way, then, you know, go elsewhere, but that's what I got tattooed over, so that's what I'm going to talk about. So a lot of my sleeve is actually over scars. I can do up-close pictures if you'd like to see. I'll probably insert them here and there. So yeah. First, let's talk about pain. So some of my scars were hypertrophic scars, which basically means the scar stays the same size, but it's raised, so there's more scar tissue. And then a keloid scar is a scar that grows outside of the initial wound, so it will look bigger than the wound was. A lot of people confuse the two, but yeah. I had a couple hypertrophic scars on my arm that were painful to the touch, like wearing a shirt on them before getting a tattoo. It hurt, like if someone would grab my arm, it hurt. It was like a sharp sting. Kind of felt like I had sunburn there all the time. So I was expecting those scars to be the worst, and then all of my other scars were quite flat. If you do have hypertrophic scars, there is actually a way to flatten them. It's kind of just like, I want to say it's compression therapy, but I don't think that's the right term. If you go to CVS or Walmart, they have these things called scar tape, and they're usually for C-section scars, so they're very long, kind of like this long, rectangular. I would cut them up and just place them on my scar, and it would help flatten it. It took probably a year for them to become as flat as they did, but I would recommend looking into that if they are super raised. So yeah, the rest of my scars were flat, but some were bigger, some are kind of almost indented. If you go like this on my arm, you can feel the scars. But they don't hurt like the other ones do. I kind of don't feel anything there. So I kind of got a mix of everything. Some scars I was expecting to be super painful. Some scars I was expecting to not feel at all. Now, when it comes to the tattoo, we'll talk about the design in a second, but I just want to mention ink, holding on to it in general. Some scars will not hold on to ink, and I do have some proof of that. So thankfully in some of those spots it kind of works. You can't really tell because I did have some skin breaks in this tattoo, even though it looks quite full. But I'll insert a picture of that. Some scars won't hold on to ink. Some scars will hold on to ink more than the rest of your skin, which you should be able to see. It looks like I have little stripes. That's because the scar held onto the ink better than my skin, and the scar is actually like a bright white compared to my skin, so even if I put a color over these scars, I'm sure it would have been brighter than the rest of my skin. That's something you have to know going into it. You might not get completely hidden scars at the end of the day. You're kind of going in at your own risk. I know some people who have gotten their scars tattooed over and you can't even tell, and then some people where it didn't work at all. You just see stripes where their scars were, so it's something to be aware of. I wouldn't go to a tattoo artist who has never done it before, because they might not be comfortable and might go light-handed over the scars just because they're afraid, and maybe that's like the opposite of what they need to do. I'm not a tattoo artist, so I don't know, but yeah, something to keep in mind. Now, when he was designing it, he took pictures of my arms and drew on his iPad kind of on top of them, and he tried to shape some of the petals kind of around them. He tried to keep some of the dark focused on like some of the, I don't know how to explain it. So some of the petals here have vertical shading of black, and that matches with the vertical scarring, so it kind of works. Over here, a lot of the petals are kind of curving and going sideways, and all the scars on this part of my arm are like horizontal stripes. These I feel like are the most noticeable to me, just because a lot of this is shading, but I know that right under the shading is a scar. So I know that without the shading it would still kind of look the same, if you know what I mean. But it works with the flower. I feel like a lot of people wouldn't notice if I didn't point it out. So now let's just talk about the pain level. It won't shock you to hear that the ones that hurt by just being touched hurt a lot when they were being tattooed. The rest of them made no difference. It was almost like I couldn't feel anything on the other scars, so that was kind of nice. I could feel like if he was blending on top of a scar, when he would meet up with the scar or hop over it, I felt like a tug almost, because it is a raised level of skin. It probably got a little bit caught, the needle, which I imagine is hard to avoid. So yeah, healing was interesting. The ones that were raised that I was able to flatten after a year got super swollen. So I kind of just had like a circle around my arm right here of just swollenness, and it eventually went away. But that was the worst part. The healing was really bad on those scars. The rest of my arm healed normally. And like I said, a few bits didn't take the ink and a few bits took the ink more than my skin, but I'm pleased with it. So yeah, that's just my experience getting tattooed over scars. I do plan to start my leg next, and I have a couple scars there that I very badly would like covered. Just bad memories, and they're quite flat, so I don't imagine they're going to be a problem, but they are very bright white, so they might pick up color more than the rest, kind of like these ones did. So yeah, if you have any questions that I didn't hit on, let me know. I feel like that's everything I was curious about before I got mine done. Maybe you're curious about how I even brought it up, but he was my boyfriend's tattoo artist. I had introduced my boyfriend to him and his Instagram. We went in, this is my first tattoo from him, but he has fixed up my chest piece quite a lot, and cover up part of the flowers. Like, I went to him first for that. So we were friendly. I wouldn't say we were friends, but I was kind of comfortable with him. It is a very hard thing to bring up. It's personal, of course. I'm sure if you were in an accident and it's like really traumatic, it might be hard for you to talk about it. If it's self-harm, you might be a little ashamed, and you shouldn't be, but I get it because I felt the same way. So I brought it up, and I was like, I don't know if you can do it or what you recommend, but I would like them covered up. And he said, well, you can get whatever you want, but color is the best, because color covers them more than black and gray, because color typically fills in the skin, and black and gray kind of just fades into skin. So I was like, okay. And then he was like, can I see? Is it like really bad? If you don't want to show me, that's fine. So I showed him like the bottom part of my arm. He didn't see this part until I had come in for him to take pictures and then plan everything out. But yeah, I do have a lot of line work on this, and I kind of imagine that if you want something geometric or Yeah, if you want straight lines or something geometric, probably avoid an area with scarring, because if the scar has any texture to it or is raised at all, it's gonna look wonky. No matter how straight he stencils it on, it's gonna look wonky because the scar is raised. So flowers, I feel like, are a really good idea, because flowers naturally have like a lot of curve to them, and like the petals have different notches, so it kind of works. It's like, it just makes sense. Yeah, he was really cool about it. He never made me feel uncomfortable at all. I think when I was done, he said something like, he made a joke about it, not about me. You know, I wasn't offended, but he was like, don't fall through any glass doors again. Like, kind of joking that that's what happened, even though he knew it wasn't. And I guess that was his way of saying, don't, you know, ruin my tattoo by doing something stupid like that. And I thought that was nice. And yeah, this isn't technically done. He wanted to do highlights, but my car fell apart and I couldn't afford to get the rest of it. So I'm hoping, you know, if I win this contest, I can finish it and then add more to my body. But yeah, I think that's it. Like I said before, if you have questions or anything, leave them below and I will try my best to answer them or make a second video. But also, if you stuck around, I'm going to leave a link down below for Inked magazine. I'm in a contest to be cover girl on their magazine, and if I win, I get $25,000, which of course would be great, and it'd be a great opportunity to be on the cover, and I'm sure I'll meet some cool people, and it's a big jump out of my comfort zone. Yeah, I really appreciate everyone who's been voting so far. It means the world to me. I didn't expect anyone to, and I kind of expected the worst. I thought people were going to be really mean and nasty about it, and like, why are you entering? You're not a model or whatever. But everyone's been so great, and it's been a boost to my confidence for sure. And I'm glad I stepped out of my comfort zone to do it. So yeah, link down below. I need to get into the top 5 by July 10th. And if I don't, then I don't make it to the next round, and that's it. Then it will be done. So yeah, please keep voting for me, guys. Donations also count as votes, and there are a couple days where the donations count double time. So if you donate $10, it counts as 20 votes. So I'd appreciate that too. But you know, I understand if you can't dish out any money. Totally get it. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you have an amazing day.